Welcome back, NoDQ Galaxy, to a brand new NoDQ review, number 307. I am Virtue, the moderator, being joined by this week's elite panel of the review. Aaron Rift is here. JJ Williams is here. Big Baller G. Walter Cruz is back. And Gino. What's going on, everybody? JJ, what's up? Were you on last show?
Yeah, I was here last week. This is 2 weeks in a row, Virtue.
Yeah. What's up?
Not a whole lot, doing good. Glad to be back here with this panel, ready to discuss some good wrestling topics.
I'm putting the female in the main event. Female ring announcers will be our topic of discussion later on. But in the meantime, we have a couple other topics. And before we get to those, Big G, what's up?
Happy to be here as always. JJ, I'm digging the Michael Myers shirt. Other than that, I'm doing pretty good. We had a decent week of wrestling this week and last week. And, other than that, let's get this ball rolling, baby.
Okay. Walter?
I'm ready to go. Yeah, we got good topics coming off an eventful Raw. I don't know. It wasn't as great as Raw. I thought Raw has been on a roll lately, but the last 2-hour ones haven't been all. I mean, the storylines have been great, but not the action itself. But
we'll
talk about it. Yeah,
they're saving it for Netflix. Gino, what's up?
Happy to be here. Having a good week so far, and I'm really excited about these topics. Can't say that enough.
Hey, we're going to dive into them shortly, so stay tuned. Aaron, what's going on?
I'm doing well. Now, I do want to mention that Spectrum, my internet service provider, has been a little unreliable. Unlike Walter Cruz this past week, Spectrum has been giving me issues. So hopefully you guys don't lose me during tonight's stream. We are live, and I think if I end up being cut out, you guys will still be able to continue. But let's cross our fingers that doesn't happen. I'm looking forward to tonight. This is a great panel, and we have some interesting topics. It was a bit of a busy news week. Shout out to our good friend Cleaver Colin Andrew, who sent in $2 via Super Chat. Thank you for that. Says, much love to the panel. Hope to be back on soon. Absolutely. We miss having you on, Colin. Hope to have you back in a little bit. And Virtue, I'm ready for the topics. I'm looking forward to what you have to say about the main event. But before that, what do you have for us?
First topic, though, we'll go back to Raw from last night, where in the main event, Jey Uso defended the Intercontinental Championship against Bron Breakker, from who he won it from. And, of course, we got some Bloodline action showing up, the bad Bloodline, the Solos version of the Bloodline. And ultimately, there was a lot of shenanigans that went on, and it cost Jey the championship, and Bron Breakker once again became the IC champion. So it's kind of nice to see them kind of mixing up the Bloodline over to the other show where Jey is. And I hope they do this from time to time. Raw on Netflix is coming up the first of the year. So that's not a bad thing. I hate brand splits anyway. I think they should just do away with them. They could feature certain guys on certain shows most of the time, but I think anybody should be able to show up at any time with no explanation. But thoughts on Bron Breakker? I mean, I thought we all kind of knew he was going to win it back. Short run for Jey, but he did have a run nonetheless. But it's furthering that Bloodline storyline, right? And he's going to ultimately have to cave, and they're going to get back together because they're all going to need each other. What do you think, Big G?
Yeah, absolutely. After seeing Jey on SmackDown, his surprise appearance on SmackDown, talking to Solo, I kind of figured, okay, something's going to happen here on Raw. And sure enough, it happened. I'm not mad that Jey lost the title. He got his 1 month title reign, or less than a month title reign, but Jey can say now that he's won a singles title in his career. And, we all kind of, like I said, we all kind of figured that eventually Jey's going to lose the title to further this Bloodline storyline. And now Jey has a motive, somewhat of a motive, to go against Solo's Bloodline now that Solo, well, mainly Jacob, actually cost him the title after the attack last night. And I'm intrigued to see what's going to happen on SmackDown this Friday, if Jey's going to actually, I mean, it's still kind of too early for Jey to join, but I think Jey's going to have some kind of interaction on SmackDown again and further this Bloodline. I know Colin said like they're rushing this reunion, but Survivor Series is right around the corner next month, so they gotta get this ball rolling.
And Big G, I could see Jay's WrestleMania match, like if him and Jimmy are back together against the tag titles, I could see that, but definitely against Jacob Fatu, whether it's in the tag match or it's a one-on-one Jay versus Jacob. That would be, I think those two have to be against each other in some form. Hopefully on the big stage.
On the big stage, yeah.
Walter?
Yeah.
Walter?
First of all, I've seen a lot of people talking about Jay's title run being short. I'm in the belief you don't need a long run to have an impactful run. It was his first singles championship. I'm sure he'll win it a few more times before his career is done. Maybe even be elevated to the next level and get the world title or the WWE title. So I don't think you necessarily have to have a long run to have an impactful one. And we just came off of people having long runs, so it's nice to see someone have kind of a short run. It's a little disappointing to see him lose it, but I don't mind a couple of short runs. They did Bron have a short run, and now Jay, and then Bron got it back. So hopefully Bron can elevate the title more, like Gunther did when he had it. But yeah, we kind of all had our crystal balls on this. I think every single one of us said we knew this was going to happen. We knew that Bloodline was going to cost Jay the title. I do like the way they did it. It looked like Solo actually cared for Jay. If you look at one part when he got speared by Bron, it wasn't Jay that moved. Solo kind of pushed him out of the way and to like save him, as if to say, look, I'm still here for you. But then what happened ended up happening. So I'm fine with it. You gotta get, like G said, you gotta get the ball rolling eventually to get to War Games. But I hope that it isn't all of a sudden everything's forgiven. I hope Jay still, like, you can still milk it for a little while. I hope he still says, like, I'm not ready to forgive you guys or anything. They got to earn it. And that way you can involve more people in it. Paul Heyman's going to have to be someone that talks to him, or even if you want to involve Rikishi, but Rikishi can't keep his mouth shut on podcasts and things. So I don't know if they want to involve him, because he keeps saying his opinions, like, very negative about Jay being involved in love stories when he's really married, which is, that's how WWE is from the beginning of the time. And you're an old wrestler, predating Attitude Era, so you should understand anything. So I don't know why that bugs him so much. Like, if his wife approved it, or if they talked about it, it's like acting. You're going to kiss people on movies and stuff. It's like, it shouldn't affect your real life, but that's neither here or there. But yeah, I'm happy with I just want to see what comes next, because I want to see how they get him back into that Bloodline story. But I'm fine with him losing the IC title.
And Gino, yeet or no yeet? Right now, it's still no yeet.
Absolutely. So I was really happy with the choice to put the title back on Bron. When the title was given to Jay, everybody, or not us, but out there on the internet, people were complaining Bron's run is too short. We want Jay in the Bloodline storyline. And I didn't see Jay holding this title for very long. I think that the loss really doesn't hurt him. He's still wrestling in main events. He's still involved in the hottest storyline that WWE has going right now. When Bron lost the title, they teased us with him moving on to Gunther. And then it feels like they just kind of pivoted. So it makes me think, did they just decide this for Rikishi? I don't really think so, because Jay being able to go over to SmackDown and say, I am the champion, I did it by myself, right? That's like the proof, right? He could say, oh, I became main event Jey Uso by myself, but having that title really was more a physical proof of that. It did shock me that he went over to SmackDown and then didn't get involved later on in the night, but he's clearly trying to take the we're family approach with Solo. So I kind of appreciated that Solo was kind of trying to be like, listen, like, I do want to help you out. You haven't done anything wrong to me. Like, because if Jay had come and interfered or helped Roman Reigns on the end of SmackDown, then we would have Solo coming to Raw, and it would be obvious that he's there to cost him the title. I mean, it was obvious that he was there to cost him the title, but I did believe, it's believable that he was there to help. people were talking about, and Aaron, I know you mentioned this too, kind of felt overbooked. Yeah, it for sure felt overbooked. I was kind of like, they had me going. Like everything that they were doing, from the Bron Breakker stare off with Jacob Fatu, and then the Tongans coming from the other side. I don't know. I ate it up as a fan. It did feel like, to go on to what Walter said about Rikishi, right? They mentioned, Tessitore mentioned him on commentary, like, oh, he's been outspoken on podcasts or whatever. So I'm not sure if they're using that as a, well, this is the reality behind Jey having the title. But all in all, I think that the title is back where it belongs. And I think that they're kind of they're still slow playing this, even though people feel it's rushed. Yes, the premium live event, excuse me, it's tough for me to make that transition, is next month, but it does feel like they're not just rushing this, that they're kind of taking their time with it.
And did they not have a moment where they were kind of like showing, hey, Bron Breakker, Jacob Fatu, like trying to match other people up and see, to get some crowd reaction for, hey, what can we do in the future? I mean, I like that. I don't know if that was planned or if they just did that, but testing the waters, like, how's the crowd going to react? Is this something we could build a feud around in the future? Gino, one of the guys I usually agree with everything he says, most of everything he says, Vince Russo. Somewhere on one of his podcasts, I can't remember where it was, he actually said, and he never likes anything wrestling today because he's not writing it. Okay. I think he puts very few things over. And at one point he put the Bloodline stuff over. But now he said, oh, it's run its course. It's turning into the NWO. I don't think that at all. He said that. I get it. He wants a reaction, people to pay attention to him. This is one time I disagree with him. And it doesn't remind me of any dumbed down NWO. I mean, you could say Solo's Bloodline is definitely a notch below the original Bloodline, but they are the heel group. They're not supposed to be liked, so it's not a bad thing. But I'm not feeling that NWO vibe with this. I just wanted to bring that up. Are you?
I mean, the thought hasn't even crossed my mind watching the product on TV. From what I remember from the NWO, it was just everybody wanted to be a part of it. It doesn't feel like that. It feels like people want everybody together, but they're not like just jumping right into bed with the new Bloodline and we'll just rec shop together. It's a competition. It's a family affair, and couldn't be further from the NWO storyline, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, and if anyone else wants to comment on that, go ahead and chime in. JJ, I'll go to you next. I just want people out there to know I disagree with some people that I tend to agree with. Why? Because I think how I think, and if I like something, I'm going to say why. And if somebody says it's stale and I don't think it, I'm going to point it out. And I don't think this is stale. Maybe because the end game for me, JJ, Brock, Roman, and I'm going to go all the way to the end. But what do you think, JJ?
Well, really quickly to touch on the Russo thing, and much like you, I watch a lot of Russo's podcasts, and I tend to agree with quite a bit of what he says, much to the chagrin of the rest of my team. I think what he may be alluding to, because I didn't see this specific podcast you're referring to, but I think what he may be referring to is the fact that there's people there that just don't really seem to fit. And while I understand that the Tongans and Jacob are extensions of the family, it's kind of like, Buff Bagwell and Vincent and Horace Hogan and Stevie Ray. It's the people that just don't really fit in with Hall, Nash, Hogan, the heavy hitters. That may be the parallel he's trying to draw. I don't know. As far as the main topic on hand, everybody pretty much said, we all kind of knew that Jey wasn't going to have a long title run. We knew he was going to lose the title. I do agree with, I think it was Dylan Lasagna in the chat room a little bit ago, posted that, the PLE Crown Jewel is still a couple weeks away. We could have maybe done it on the Raw after Crown Jewel or even at Crown Jewel, done the title change in Saudi, still had the better part of a month to still build towards Jey rejoining the OG Bloodline for War Games. I kind of agree that maybe pulling the trigger and taking the belt off of him on this Raw was too soon, but we knew the end game.
Those are all fair assessments. And look, we always talk about the bloodline and obviously how this is furthering that Jay's future decision he's got to make. But Bron Breakker, rising star, and you see glimpses of that intensity, and they have the belt back on him, and now hopefully he can have that dominating run. I get it. The days of having a lot of people come in with streaks, you humble them, let them lose a couple times, whatever. Let them have a good dominant run now, hopefully. Nothing against Sami Zayn and Jey Uso, especially how great they've been the past couple of years. But, yeah, Bron Breakker, you want him to be the next generation of star? Roll with it. Aaron, I'm passing it over to you now.
Yeah, I agree with you. Jey Uso got his championship, but the focus should be Bron Breakker. He's regained the title. WWE was able to accomplish two things, build up Breakker. And it wasn't a fluke, by the way. He did kick out of Jey Uso's splash towards the end. Bron Breakker looked very strong in that match, and I like the little tease with Jacob Fatu setting that up for the future. That was all well done. And overall, I think WWE has done a great job with the Bloodline storyline, and I think it's too early to say if they're rushing it. Like a couple weeks ago, I was wondering, when are they going to start getting Jey into the mix? Now he's fully in the mix, and perhaps they're moving too fast, but I think I'll wait until Survivor Series and see how this all plays out over the next several weeks and then judge. Did they move things along too fast? Were they going too slow? Time will tell on that one. You definitely want to peak right before Survivor Series so the interest is at its absolute maximum. But either way, I think WWE has done a fantastic job with this storyline, with the Bloodline. I think Bron Breakker will have a solid run this time. I don't see him losing it anytime soon. And as far as the NWO comment goes, I think NWO was lightning in a bottle. And when it was at its peak, it was one of the best things ever in wrestling. But it definitely fell off a cliff after a while and had no real sense of direction. And it was clear that they were just grasping at straws and throwing things at the wall, hoping something would stick. Now, with the Bloodline, I feel like they've had a long-term plan, and everything they've done was all part of it, and they've really thought this out very well. And I think the writing for the Bloodline has been superior to the NWO. The NWO was a great idea, and again, with the Hulk Hogan heel turn, bringing in Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, like that was all brilliant. Like that was perfect at the time, but it did fade out. And I think overall the Bloodline has been better as far as being more consistent with the storytelling. So to me, it's not even close to being stale. There's still a lot more mileage this can get. Virtue, as you said, The Rock, Roman Reigns, we got to get that payoff.
We still have that, right? When Sting and Hogan was over, that to me, NWO was over. And then Wolfpack and Sting joined the NWO. We still have the end game left. So that would be my argument to Russo, why I don't think it's stale. Even if there's some pieces that might seem out of place, I'm going to give it time because that could be The Rock's pieces. And anything The Rock does, you got to go with. Because, that final boss gimmick, he can come out and pretty much say anything, and you're going to go with it. The fans are going to boo, pop, whatever. But there's still that end game there. And that's why I can't think it's stale at all. Get a little impatient, maybe, because we hear rumors, Rock's not going to do this, his schedule, this and that. But, yeah, we still got that end game piece.
Right. And we haven't seen the old Bloodline as baby faces going into a big match like War Games. Like, this is something new, so it's definitely not stale. Like, this is what people have been wanting to see since Sami Zayn split away, the Usos broke up. Like, fans were like, I want to see all these guys back together as good guys. And we talked about this years ago, that Roman Reigns would eventually turn back and he'd be the organic baby face, which he is now. But now we all want to see the band get back together, and they're building it up and making you want it. With the NWO, it was just kind of thrown out there because they really had no other ideas.
All set, all caught up. Anything else, Aaron?
Let's move on. Oh wait, Gino's got one more comment.
Yes.
Yes, sorry, real quick. So last week we talked about where I mentioned that it would be dumb for Solo to just come over unprovoked on Raw. So I do like that they gave us that little bit of their interaction to begin SmackDown, just to kind of make it make sense for him to come over there and be there.
Well said. Now, and Gino, like I said, there's time to kill on Raw for the next couple of months. Then it's going to be on Netflix.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see them put a little effort, even if it's a show, Solo and the Bloodline showing up. They could really mail it in while it's still on the USA Network. So at least they did a little something. Transitional topic here. Now we're going to be talking about the ring announcer change in WWE. But before then, we're going to go around the panel. I'm going to start with JJ first on this one. It's kind of he branched out to me in a private chat and asked me if we could talk about something. And he brought up the old TNA, Bound for Glory's coming up. He said, hey, Aaron's even going to that show. Are you going to that show, Aaron?
Yeah.
Okay. So I was like, all right, we really don't talk about TNA too much unless something big happens, like they worked with AEW but we do see a little crossover with WWE lately. So, and this doesn't have to just be pinned to TNA, because we always talk about WWE and AEW, but is there anybody out there on the indies or in one of the smaller promotions that you, the chat, NoDQ Galaxy, believe in? And that's all I'm going to say. Is there anybody that you believe in the indies that you would like to see on the bigger stage, and what could be that next move for them? JJ, the floor is yours.
Yeah, first of all, Virtue, thank you for entertaining my topic suggestion. I mainly was sitting here racking my brain, and I'm like, I know Aaron doesn't really cover TNA anymore, but with Joe Hendry challenging the former Dolph Ziggler for the title this week, it's like, does anybody really believe he can get it done and win the title? So that was where my line of thought came from, and Virtue entertained the thought and put this together. I don't know, like, as much as I like Joe Hendry and as much as I support and believe in him, I don't know if I see him winning the big one, especially with the rumors that his title or that his contract is going to be over in the beginning of 2025. That leads for a perfect transition into WWE, a debut at the Rumble, coming over to the E on a full-time basis. So why would you put the strap on him for like 2 months, a month and a half even? Like, there's literally 2 other pay-per-views to round out the year, Turning Point and Final Resolution. So I don't know. That's like where my thought process was. As far as on the indies, I don't follow the indies too much anymore like I did 10, even 15 years ago. So I don't really know who's out there making a name, just the people that I see maybe on NWA on their weekly product, which unfortunately isn't even on the CW anymore. You've got to watch it on Twitter.
Well, Aaron's boy, Matt Cardona, when is he? Is he coming back? Is Matt Cardona, Zack Ryder? His wife's working in the Big E.
The only way I could see Zack Ryder coming back is if they did like a Zack Ryder. Is if they did like a Zack Ryder, Chelsea Green versus Becky and Seth type of thing, or a Miz and Maurice type of thing, and go for the power couple type of thing. But the only person on the indies, and it's through NWA, that catches my eye is a woman by the name of Tiffany Nieves. She has a gimmick, La Princesa. She's definitely somebody I could see WWE wanting to snatch up, wanting to bring into their developmental. She's got some great fundamentals about her. I could see her leading the next generation of women's wrestlers in WWE, or even AEW, if they decided to get their heads out of their asses, take the money that they're given to Mercedes and give some of it to her. But Nieves has already worked when they had Dark and Dark Elevation and said they basically missed their chance with her. So,
Well, thank you. Did you get all that you wanted out on
Yeah.
that? JJ, I want to make sure you had enough time. All right, I'm going to come over to you now, Big G. There is one person, and he's still, like, when I say indies, it's some indies because I don't know exactly. He does a lot of different things, but I still see him on podcasts talking with guys like Kevin Nash. People and people like Nash are like, why isn't this guy in a company? Enzo Amore. I mean, it is absolutely absurd. And
Yeah.
unless he's been given offers and he doesn't want to, but I think from whatever stemmed to his release and when he was partying all the time as a cruiserweight champion, and then the allegations that were proved and false, he's bounced back from that. The guy does tons of make-a-wishes. I don't know if people pay attention to that. He's not even hooked to a big company, and he's doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's my guy because he's a mouthpiece. He doesn't have to work. He can be a manager. He can wrestle sometimes. And it's insane that he's not in either promotion of the major promotions. But go ahead, Big G. You're next.
So one guy that I'm thinking about, he got let go by WWE too because of over allegations, and he's been making his way back into the indie scene, especially in MCW, Maryland Championship Wrestling, where he got his start. Is Velveteen Dream. You know, that's another guy that I want to see back in either AEW, WWE. You know, the allegations or whatever apparently have dropped or whatever. So I want to, but but then it goes back to, do they want to go back to mainstream? Like Enzo too. Are they enjoying the life on the indies because they can make dates? They can do the dates whenever they want to. They can go to the wrestling conventions, meet and greets. They're not bound to one company, so they're free to go wherever they want to. But I'm sure eventually down the road, Enzo, Velveteen Dream, or whoever is on the indies will go to one of the mainstream shows, even TNA.
Dude, Enzo is that spice that AEW needs, and I, it's to disband the Learning Tree, put him and Cass together, feud him against the Acclaimed, problem solved. Have a 10, 15-minute segment where people are interested in the talking and the wrestling, and it's the formula's right there. And this is the same Enzo that when he was in WWE, it was proven that his quarter hours were some of the highest, actually the highest other than the main events, and they were going to do a house show circuit of cruiserweights with him as the headliner. I think he's over his issues. Like, it's just insane. Like, somebody don't like him. Like, he must have really rubbed Triple H or Nick Khan the wrong way, because Vince is even gone, right? And never say never, right? There's still plenty of time, and it could happen. Or maybe he doesn't want to. But Velveteen Dream, same thing. I mean, you're not in jail. You're not. I don't remember any actual criminal charges. And look, I've said it online, when you have the community that as soon as an allegation is out there for anybody, the community today, anybody, it's the society today is you're guilty unless you're proven innocent. And that's not how it works. It's just not how it works. So I'm going to give people the benefit of the doubt. And could they not be morally or ethical people? Maybe not. But you always give people a second chance unless they're going on death row or life in prison or something that heinous because they've been convicted of it. It's just a shame. But anything else you would like to say? But good shout out there to Velveteen Dream. I'm going to agree with that one on the same level as Enzo. He was entertaining as heck. I don't. Why would that change? Unless there was still that dark cloud around him. It's just insane how some of these. And again, we have to give WWE maybe a little bit the benefit of the doubt. Publicly traded company. AEW, there's no excuse to liven your roster up with entertaining people. But anyway, we see how they try. They bring people in all the time and they fizzle out. Are you good, Big G? Anything else?
Yeah, I'm good.
Walter.
Another one that could possibly come back, because he still has a relationship with people in WWE, people like Xavier Woods and stuff, is Tyler Breeze. I mean, I know he's been doing like the video game stuff and things like that, but they can bring him back to help NXT. Like, I feel like his NXT run was way better than his main roster run, and if they put him back in NXT, I could see that. But yeah, you guys mentioned Matt Cardona. The only way I really see him coming back is if they like allow him to still be independent. Like right now, he's enjoying the freedom of where he can pop up anywhere he wants. If they actually allow him to do that without locking him into a contract, just a few one-off appearances, I can see him doing like the Royal Rumble. But I think most of us here all guessed that Joe Hendry was going to be in the Royal Rumble next year, like without a doubt. Like I'll be more shocked if he doesn't than if he is.
Yeah.
Like there's like almost like no way they could take advantage. But to what JJ was saying, I can still see him winning the title because they have a relationship together with the NXT and WWE, so he can still win it even if he has a short run. But like Joe Henry is such a hot ticket right now, why not represent TNA while in WWE and defend them both and mixing it either way and make money? Either way, he's money right now. Like,
and look, you say that, and I know JJ, like, I am still not sold on that yet. Now, if he goes to the big leagues, and I'm not talking about NXT, but I'm talking about like SmackDown, Raw, and he's mixing it up in the ring with like LA Knight, and then I'm being entertained. That's his chance. That's what I want to see. This little indie stuff and whatever he plays to the crowd and that group of fans, I don't buy it. I need to see it at that next level. And I'm not saying he can't, but I'm not going to be jumping on a bandwagon early like you people until I see it, because it always takes two to tango. And does he have that? Like, is there a reason why he's in TNA and that he's just a guest to NXT right now? We will see. And I'm not trying to badmouth him. I just need more time. Gino.
Yeah.
Oh, anything else,
got
Walter?
one more. I got one more. One person, you guys talk about second chances. One person that I really believe deserves a second chance, and I really don't understand why they never let him come back. And it's not just because of the gimmick and what I do with the microphone. It's Mr. Kennedy. Like, I'm really shocked that he hasn't been in a one-off Royal Rumble or just some kind of appearance. Like, he must have really rubbed people the wrong way back then, but it's a whole different regime. Like, I know he's a little bit older, but to bring him back for like one more run, and his whole gimmick with the introducing himself that microphone, that's a fun gimmick to have. Like, to bring that back, even if you do a little NXT run with him, I mean, he has a school, he's bringing people to WWE, so like it's a good to use him for the younger people. Like, I would love to see Mr. Kennedy come back.
And he
for
had
one
a
short
good run in TNA. I mean, he had some good
Yeah.
feuds in TNA with Sting, with Kurt Angle. Like, so he wasn't just a flash from the pan as Mr. Kennedy.
Yeah.
When he was Mr. Anderson, like, I know it was TNA, but it was still in the day where TNA had decent numbers compared to the TNA it is today in terms of viewership. I don't know. I like that choice too. Maybe just to show up, like,
Yeah,
you know, as a
exactly.
nostalgia thing, like you said, a one-off in a Royal Rumble, or what? They brought MVP back to be a mouthpiece for a year or two.
Mm-hmm.
Why not Mr. Kennedy? All right, Gino.
Okay. First of all, great points, guys. 6-person panel. Obviously, we're going to get a lot of great perspective. I love that. I had written down some names here, but Virtue, you said Enzo. That's always been my guy. When he was on the main roster with Big Cass doing his thing, Big Cass doing his shtick, I lived with 5 other people, and they're not wrestling fans. And when Enzo's music would hit, or when they knew Enzo was talking, they would stop and watch it with me. Like, he appealed to the casuals that at least I was around. I still watch on YouTube when he did that whole promo with no microphone. There's not too many people in the history of the business that can do something like that. And it always puts a smile on my face. So I would love to see Enzo back. Obviously, when he had what happened to him, I think they were more mad that he didn't tell them that he was under investigation versus what actually he was being accused of. So I think that kind of muddied the waters a bit. But especially with Vince gone, you'd think he'd have a soft spot for somebody who has allegations. But I do want to see Enzo back. Now, as far as the list of names that I had written down coming into today, Jordan Grace, obviously we see her on WWE television. She's a star. Some of these guys are on WWE television. Hammerstone is a physical freak. Rosemary, she's in NXT right now doing some work. She also is somebody that I'm over with. Frankie Kazarian, Nick Namath, and obviously you guys mentioned Matt Cardona. I'm concerned if any of those guys came back to WWE, would they let them use their indie name? or would they go with their WWE name? The music might not elicit the same pop. You know, if Matt Cardona came back for the Royal Rumble, like the shirt I'm wearing, like would he not get a bigger pop with his woo 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 song or with what he's using now? Now, as far as the headliner of the conversation, Joe Hendry, I believe in Joe Hendry. I went to a TNA taping when they had it over here in Tampa. Yes. And he seems like he's got a good head on his shoulders. He seems like he cares about the fans that care about him. People were in line to buy his shirts. I think that there's money to be made with that. Now, I do believe he should win the championship, right? He would bring more credibility into WWE, having been a world champion. And I think that he could drop it to maybe the next TNA up and comer too, to put somebody else over, you know, on the way out the door. It would be a huge missed opportunity if his music doesn't hit in the Royal Rumble this year, or early next year. And I think that he has been working for 10 years. He's not just somebody new on the scene, and he's going about his viral and guerrilla marketing. It's impressive, and he's doing it without the WWE machine. Now, obviously, he became more popular when he was working in the WWE events and when he put his face by Clash of the Castle. I would love to see him do more. And like you said, though, his in-ring work, it's not like it's lacking, but I don't know. His finisher looks like he's just not strong enough to get the guys up, and it doesn't really do much for me. It's like a modified choke. I used to see that move in the WWE video game, and I'd be like, who the heck would ever use this move? Like, tell me the guy's too heavy for you without telling me the guy's too heavy for you. But he's got a lot. And Shawn Michaels believes in him, and that's something that you can't take lightly. So Enzo and Joe Hendry for me.
And I'm calling out Jeff Meacham. He's always going to be an Enzo hater. Dude, the stunts that Enzo pulled, like in Ring of Honor, it was planned with him and Big Cass, and it generated a buzz. I think that was WrestleMania weekend. What he did at Survivor Series, you think it pissed WWE and Vince McMahon off at the time. I guarantee you some of those people popped that he got that far and did that. It just shows you how creative of a guy he is. What did he do wrong? Became a mark by buying a ticket? Like, so that rubbed you the wrong way, Jeff? Like, I don't understand. Like, you just have this hate against Enzo because you maybe don't like the way he works as a wrestler, and maybe he's cocky and arrogant when he had that little party tour as a cruiserweight champion. He was getting drunk in public a lot. I get, if you hate him for those reasons, that's fine. He's probably one of the top 5 most entertaining people in WWE in the past decade. I mean, seriously. And they're dropping the ball by not bringing him back. But never say never. Carlito's even back there. Maybe not for long. But remember, we thought he would never. But there's wrestlers we thought would never show back up. And at some point they have. I'm going to die on this Enzo. I'm going to die on this Enzo hill until he shows up for some appearances in one of the big leagues. And I'm even calling AEW that. At some point, it's just there's money to be made. There's metrics out there that show you he's a draw anyway, and he's good for PR now. He hasn't done anything bad since that whatever happened. And again, that was an allegation, and he's done nothing but good PR with what are those called again? Make-A-Wish. Like, that's right up WWE's alley. Okay, Aaron, over to you.
Well, that was something I was going to say. For my turn, bring up Jeff's hate of Enzo Amore.
Continue on.
As far as that stunt goes,
I was being nice.
I was there. Sometimes you have to make your own publicity. You got to bet on yourself. You got to take chances. You got to stir the pot. You got to disrupt everything. Enzo Amore is a disruptor, and he has been out of trouble for the last few years. And even for Big Cass,
7 years.
Big Cass has gone on record publicly saying he wants to see Enzo get another shot in wrestling. And Mr. Tito, shout out to Tito, who sent in a $5 super chat. Tito says Virtue won't give up on Enzo, just like Aaron won't give up on Naomi joining the Bloodline. Well, guess what? I'm not giving up on Enzo either. I'm a big fan of Enzo as a character, and I think that as a person, he has seemingly matured. I would love to see him in AEW, have him get Big Cass, Big Bill out of Jericho's faction, and maybe let Enzo record a cool track for his entrance. Let Enzo and Cass be a tag team. And hey, AEW is mostly smaller guys anyways, so Enzo's not really going to look out of place in AEW. If anything, he might be bigger than half the roster. So I say bring in Enzo. Who cares if he's not a work rate guy? How about bringing in a guy into your company because he's entertaining and will be fun to watch? And when he's on your screen, you're not going to change the damn channel. I say 100% bring back Enzo Amore,
And-
whether it's AEW, WWE. I believe in him.
Aaron, I just saw in the chat, none of us said Riddle.
Well, I was actually going to bring up
were
Riddle
you?
right now.
Okay.
So here's my take on Riddle. I think that the jury's still out on him. Give him a couple more years. He's doing stuff. He seems to be staying out of trouble, out of the headlines. If he can mature and produce good work over the next couple years, I could see him being brought back. Velveteen Dream, he's going to have to work really hard, I think, for a long time because WWE is a publicly traded company. And the fact that Tony Khan didn't even sign Riddle, that tells you something because Khan is quick to sign anybody who can go in the ring, and Riddle can go. He's one of the best. But, yeah, he made some personal mistakes, and I think that might be a few more years for Riddle. Velveteen Dream, he's still relatively young, but if he doesn't get into any more trouble and he continues to build his reputation on the indies, maybe in 5 years we'll see him back in mainstream wrestling. Virtue?
Now, I know JJ had his hand up, but I have to mention this. Why in pro sports then? So many people that have had issues. And Trevor Bauer has not been given another chance in baseball. But Deshaun Watson, there's a basketball player on the Clippers, I think Porter. They've had so much trouble outside of basketball, yet they've been welcomed back into leagues and playing. And it happens at least 80% of the time they get second chances in sports. But in wrestling, they are done.
Right. Mike Tyson convicted, and he was welcomed back into sports, and he's considered, one of the most iconic celebrities of all time. But he was actually convicted of a crime.
It's crazy. JJ, did you have something to add?
I did. To piggyback on that real quick, and baseball still won't let Pete Rose in their Hall of Fame. No second chances for him. But
well, now that he's dead, he'll be in.
Doubtful.
Yeah, for sure.
They're still saying never. But as far as Enzo goes, AEW signs him, he'll get better quarter-hour segments than Mercedes and the Bucks combined. That's for sure.
I'll watch.
And
Love it.
Whoever it was that brought up Nick Nemeth going back, I think it was Gino brought up Nick Nemeth going back. I think you'd have to hold off another year or two on him. You got to figure he just came to TNA at the beginning of this year. He just left WWE. He's still trying to get the animosity and the pent-up frustration that he's had from being underutilized out of his system and showing the world, as he did as Dolph Ziggler, the kind of talent that he really is. 2, 3, 4 years down the road, if he's still wrestling and we're approaching like 2030, then maybe an appearance down there around. You're laughing, G, but you got to figure, what year are we in? You give him about 5 years, we're talking 2029.
Right. I'm just thinking like 2030.
So
like,
it's
holy hell.
As weird as it is to talk that far in the future, give him a couple years to get some of that
I agree
out of his
with you
system.
on that. All that pent up frustration.
And then maybe we can talk about a Nick Nemeth / Dolph Ziggler one-off return in a Royal Rumble or Legends contract or something along those lines.
And I like controversy. Maybe that's why I want like these guys like Riddle and Enzo to get a second chance. Velveteen Dream. Bischoff said it best. And Aaron, I was on the Roman Reigns hill for a long time, and then he caught on with everybody. So to tell Tito, why wouldn't I continue to stay on the Enzo train? Right? I'm on it for the long haul on when I like something. I am. I'm never going to change.
Hey, some people just like to sit back and watch the world burn, Virtue. And me and you seem to be those type of people.
Aaron, anything else on this topic before we move to the main event?
Let Walter say his piece, and then
Walter, go ahead.
I just want to say, if the UFC gives John Jones all the chances they gave him, WWE can give other people chances.
Dude, there's a huge list in pro sports. 75-80% people get a second chance easily. I mean, I know we pointed out Pete Rose and Trevor Bauer. There's a lot of people that get second chances in sports.
All right. Shout out to Wesley, who sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, what about Dimeless Dana Brooke, aka Ash by Elegance. I completely forgot about her. And hey, I needed to add this before we move on. I don't think Dana Brooke's going back to WWE, by the way. I just don't see it happening. But let me say this. I have not watched TNA. I don't watch the shows weekly. I am going to Bound for Glory. So maybe we can revisit this next week on the NoDQ review. I'll give my thoughts. Go in there live. I'll see what Joe Hendry is about in person. I'll see what these guys can do. And if I think that they have any real potential in WWE. I mean, I think it's pretty clear. You guys mentioned this earlier. Joe Hendry's going to WWE, whether he wins the title or not. Jordan Grace is probably going to WWE, and maybe a few others in TNA.
Aaron, this could be your big opportunity. This could be your chance, like Meltzer once did in PWG and New Japan, how he started getting the guys like Kenny Omega over and all those type of guys. This could be your opportunity on your platform to go into this show and to create a rapport with the wrestler, and then you both blow up even bigger than, hey, it's on you, man. You got
we did
you
that.
You can
back
be the
in
Meltzer for Joe Hendry. If you report and you put out 5-star performance, whatever, I'm telling you, man, don't go in there lightly. Go in there and keep your head on a swivel.
All right. Well, that's how MJF found out about me, because I went to a show. I think it was Defy in Portland, Oregon, and he was there. And I had tweeted like, this guy MJF was pretty entertaining, and then he actually reached out to me and said he was a fan. So, yeah, there you go. Maybe somebody will take note of something I say about the Impact Wrestling show, or TNA show, Bound for Glory, coming up this Saturday. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and I'll report back if I think that anybody is a particular standout. Gino?
Yeah, I just wanted to touch on the controversial sports figure thing just real quick. I feel like the Enzo and the Velveteen Dream stuff reminds me less of the athletes that, I do something at a super high level that somebody wants to try and make money off of, or more compared to like Jonathan Majors and Justin Roiland for like TV and entertainment stuff. Like, the accusations happened, or text messages were sent to somebody they shouldn't have been. And were they convicted? No. Or were they convicted? Yes, but not of the more serious and heinous charges. And I feel like entertainment over true athletic competition, they treat that differently. It's like, if you can provide for me like at a top level, we'll give you a second, third chance. But as far as TV show, entertainment stuff, they really are less likely across the board to kind of just welcome people back.
Well, and there's more. I mean, as much money as there is in wrestling, there's even more money in sports, and especially betting. And so all the power people, that's an internet network, and they think somebody's good for business, there'll be an owner that'll bring somebody in. And there's more of them too. Think about all the sports teams. There's more options. In wrestling, there's not. You got 2 major players and then a bunch of little ones. So, Aaron,
thank you.
So, guess who has arrived? Psycho Jet Black is in the house, so we may go well over an hour tonight. Psycho Jet Black says most likely to return to WWE, Ryback or Alberto Del Rio. I agree. I don't think either of them are coming back.
They made it personal. They made it personal with the things they said. And Del Rio, his no-showed events that he did after that, like it was a snowball with those two guys. Enzo hasn't done anything bad since he's been gone. You know what I mean? Yeah. You got to look at the whole picture.
Yeah, Del Rio's getting up there age-wise, so I'm not sure they'll invest in him. And yeah, Ryback, I don't see Ryback working anywhere at this point. I really
he should talk WWE every day on TikTok.
Yeah, you can't trust him with a live mic. Like, I can't even imagine them bringing Ryback back.
Yeah, we are full. We do not need any more Ryback. JJ?
I think we've got a better shot of Rift Aronson coming back to the review than Del Rio or Ryback going back to WWE.
Well, there you have it. And
I think we have a better shot of Robbie Vice coming back to the NoDQ review.
Josh Mansfield.
That too.
Wow.
I don't know. Maybe not. That would be in the Ryback Del Rio category.
Oof.
Whoa, okay. Well, Psycho Jet Black says, which team gets more hate, the Yankees or the Dodgers? The Yankees, right? Because they're
through the Yankees. Boo.
Yankees. I mean, come on, they brought it up with John Cena and Punk.
Well, thank you for that, Psycho Jet Black. And on that note, we are caught up.
Main
Main
event.
event time.
We're putting the ladies in the main event. So we just found out not too long ago, Samantha Irvin has not or decided to leave WWE, and we don't know exactly when she decided that and if it was a contract thing, how she was getting paid, but she is no longer there, and Lilian Garcia is now back. Now, there's a couple things here. I'm not going to come on here and say, because everybody loves her announcing, and I said it's not my cup of tea. I mean, even Michael Buffer puts her over, and he's the legendary Let's Get Ready to Rumble. I don't like the markish stuff that she does, but I know that fans like that because it feels like, hey, I can be the ring announcer. I can do it. So I get the appeal to her. So I'm not going to sit there and knock her. She's a great singer. So maybe that's what she's going to try to pursue next. There's always that chance she goes to AEW because Ricochet, her boyfriend, husband, whatever he is over there. But I want to commend WWE for bringing back Lilian Garcia and for her wanting to do it because she is, I believe, over 50. And it's nice to see a female over 50, and she looks like she's 35, right back in a prominent role. Like that's great. Like, to me, that got overshined by everybody loving Irvin so much. They're this, what's going to happen? Where is she going to go? So we must talk about this. So I'm not going to knock Samantha Irvin, but I do want to give props to WWE and Lilian Garcia for making it happen. She was a little, getting used to it last night. She didn't quite sound herself, but she'll get there. Walter, I'll start with you on this one.
Yeah, I agree with you that nice to see someone at that age and probably she does look like she's in her 30s. Like, time has been good to Lilian. But in terms of Samantha, like we talked about it, JJ and I, on an impromptu thing we did on YouTube yesterday. We figured it had to be either she was gonna do her music career or she just wanted to venture into other things, and it looks like they've been given more reasons as to it has to do with her music, and I'm saying good for her. I mean, she made a name for herself in WWE. She's out there. She's also broke the internet with a few pictures that she does, and take advantage while the getting's good and you can make something else. You don't have to stick in WWE forever. And I'm sure it was mutually agreed, and she did the right things and went to the right channel. So the door is always open. So, like, who are we to judge what she wants to do? Go ahead and do what you want to do. You want to be a singer, and I've heard her done the national anthems. We've heard her sing on social media. She does have the voice. So if it doesn't work out, she can't do the record label, she can always go back to WWE. Like I said, I think the door is open, but that's just my assumption. I haven't read anything like that, but they're saying that it was mutual agreement and she left and she did things the right way. So, well, I don't know why everybody's like, oh my God. It's like, leave people alone. Let them do what makes them happy. The main concern is her happiness. And, Noah says it all the time, protective mentality on the Simply Reliable studio. He says it a lot, and it's true. As long as she's happy and protecting her own mentality, it's on her. But it shows how popular she is. I said this yesterday, that you really never heard this much hype for an announcer when they leave than her. When Justin Roberts left, and granted, people said, well, it wasn't the social media age, but when other people left, you didn't really hear this much news about it. When Lilian left the first time, it wasn't everybody's like, oh, why is Lilian leaving and everything. And so it does show how popular she is with the people and the connection she has to her fan. But I'm sure sometime down the road she can come back. But let her venture into whatever she wants to do, as long as she's happy. That's the biggest thing.
Yep.
All right. There you go. Well said, Walter. Big G.
Yeah. Not really much else to say. I mean,
Okay, Gino. Gino. Oh no, go ahead. Go ahead, Big G.
No, I mean, I'm happy for her. She's gonna venture into other things, like Walter said. I even posted in one of the group chats. She just sang at the sang the national anthem not too long ago at a football game, and she's known, yeah, she's known as being a flautist. I've seen her videos on YouTube when she was on X Factor or whatever, one of the shows with Simon Cowell playing the flute. She's very awesome at that. So she has stuff to fall back onto. And like Walter said, she can eventually go back to WWE if she wants to, or even down the road to AEW. But they have 2 ring announcers already in AEW, so But good for her. I always liked her. I always liked her when she did the Chelsea Green thing, how she introduced the Bloodline, how she introduced
You would like all that stuff.
Imperium. It made it not so bland, because like if you just here he is, your world heavyweight champion Gunther. No, she put some oomph into it. She made you believe that he was the world champion or the IC champion. Or when Roman Reigns came out and she said, the undisputed, she made you believe he was the champion.
Okay, if you say so, Big G.
I agree with Big G 100%.
She looked like a fan that jumped the rail, that was excited to have her WrestleMania.
And?
You know how when you go to WrestleMania Access, they let you do your own entrances and all the ring announcing and all that.
She's not a wrestler, though.
But she would be perfect.
But you know what? I went to WrestleMania.
You can't get any more.
I did do my damn own shit, man.
You can't get any more. Like AEW would be perfect for her because she likes to like have the camera catcher and hey, look at me. I'm a great ring announcer that's passionate. She'd fit perfect with Aubrey as the referee for those matches. They can get all the camera, and that's great. And that's the AEW world. The fans would embrace that. I would rather have her pursue a singing career personally, but anyway.
Yeah, same here.
Gino,
I am happy that Lilian.
Remember, I always wanted Bray Wyatt to go to do horror movies, get out of wrestling. That's all right, Gino.
Yeah. So it felt like it came out of nowhere, right? All of a sudden, Monday hits, social media, NoDQ websites going crazy. Or not crazy, but the posts about, hey, what she said and that she's not going to be there. It just felt like, what are we not, like, what's going on? Apparently this has been going on for months and what have you. Now this is going to sound like that I dislike Lilian Garcia, which couldn't be further from the truth. Back when right around the time I started watching wrestling, Lilian Garcia was always like my favorite ring announcer. But she made 2 noticeable mistakes last night, one with the tag team tournament and the other one, I think she announced that Humberto and Angel were with the LWO when they were nowhere to be found. I'm sure she was nervous and it had been a while and stuff. So I'm sympathetic to that, but it did feel like energy was missing, right? If we want to talk about, like in the chat, they're mentioning, UFC and all stuff, like Bruce Buffer makes you feel like physically feel his words. And I felt like Samantha Irvin did a great job with that. Yeah, I get it, Virtue. The H before everybody's name, the Heroman, Heranes, Hakodi, Herodes. Like, I get that. Like, and I think she started to try and work on that.
My wife did. Like that. Then I started hearing it all the time. I never even noticed it.
Right. And once you mentioned it on a video before I even started getting involved, I was like, that's all I could hear. But then she wasn't announcing for Roman Reigns because she was on Raw and he was on SmackDown. And then the last time she did it, like the final time, it had the H's in it. But I remember, I think it was at SummerSlam or something like that, where last time he wrestled, I think that she took the H's out of it. So either way, if Lilian Garcia is not a permanent replacement, like I hope she's not. I think that it's established that she's, it's kind of temporary. I see this being, if she's not already in the Hall of Fame, this being like, hey, she's probably going to get a Hall of Fame nod, which I think she would deserve. She did it for a long time. And like I said, she was one of my favorites. But sometimes I'll look away from the screen as the product is going on, and hearing her voice, it almost felt like it just felt old. Not that she's old, but like that I feel like I'm watching the old product. Nostalgia. And it's almost right, but it's almost like if they all of a sudden you turned on SmackDown and they're playing the Marilyn Manson song. It's like using old sounds makes me feel it's nostalgic, but it also makes me feel like, okay, it's not new. We're not moving forward. I think that it probably would have gone over better if they, used a completely new person. Now they got that guy Mike Rome and NXT. I was actually mad that they switched him with the girl on SmackDown, and they switched the NXT and the SmackDown announcers. I don't know her name, so I apologize, but it just feels like moving moving forward would have been my preferred direction with that. She did sound low energy, and I wasn't as excited. I found myself missing Samantha, but just like any other wrestling fan, sometimes change takes a little while for us to get used to, and then we're okay with it.
Maybe she is going to go to AEW. Maybe Justin Roberts gave his notice, and maybe he's going to be part of the John Cena tour next year to be the. I would pop for that if he went back just for a year to do all the Cena matches. But all right, I'll note that. You hear. I mean, remember when Fink got to the point where he'd only do like pay-per-views or certain matches, but they had Tony Chimmel or whoever else do everything else, Lilian Garcia back in the day. I can see where you think it takes you back, and it's like, well, Samantha Irvin was the voice of this generation as a ring announcer. Now it's Lily, and now it's like we're 15, 20 years ago. But let's see what they do, right? They're so good, they can develop another ring announcer. And I'm not saying the girl on SmackDown. I don't know who that is, but I know a lot of people kind of gave her a hard time because she wasn't up to snuff to Samantha Irvin. But to me, they were both a dime a dozen. But that's just what I think. JJ, go ahead.
Well, much like Walter, I kind of spoke my piece about this yesterday. Me, him, and our buddy James went for almost an hour discussing this topic yesterday.
Bullet points.
My biggest concern, though, is what would she do at AEW if she goes there? Justin Roberts is their announcer. Assuming that his contract isn't up, that he's not leaving, she's not going to take Justin Roberts' spot. Renee Paquette is killing it as the backstage ring announcer. She's not going to take Renee's spot. Mrs. John Moxley. You don't want to bury her in Ring of Honor that 5 people watch on a Thursday, pay for the Honor Club. No one's going to see her. So other than being there to be on a schedule with Ricochet, like, what would be the point? I would rather just see her focus on her music career, which from all the reports that I've read, the rumors, that it seems like that's where she wants to put her focus in, and that's great because she's 35 years old, trying to establish a name in the music industry at that age. Her better days are already behind her because she's at that point where a label executive can't mold her to be what they want. She's going to be headstrong. She's going to have her own, what she wants to sound like, what she wants to be produced like. And it's not going to be that, jar of clay that a record label can mold into a specific image. So she's only got maybe about a decade at best to try to get to that upper echelon in the music career coming in at this age.
And we'll see what happens. I mean, sometimes it works and they can make a bigger career than they did in wrestling. Did everybody go?
Except for Aaron.
Besides Aaron? Okay.
Yeah.
God, I lost track here. All right, Aaron.
Well, first of all,
you're the biggest Samantha Irvin fanboy that I know, so the floor is yours.
Well, first of all, I didn't even know she was 35. Wow. I mean, yeah, she's going to be pulling a DDP in the music industry, trying to get started at such a late age. But I wish her the absolute best. I hope it works out for her. And we do have a couple of super chats here. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you, Psycho. Says, remember when Triple H lost the world title and Lilian Garcia referred to him as the former world champion and Triple H chased her out of the ring? I actually do not remember this. Does anybody in the panel remember that segment?
Do.
What happened exactly? Is that as he described it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and look at that one. I mean, she's botched a couple things here and there over the years, especially in the early part of her career. But
I thought it was
Garcia. Go ahead.
This was like
I thought it was like the day after the pay-per-view. Like I thought it was the Monday Night Raw after a pay-per-view on Sunday where he had lost the title and it pissed him off that he said that he was former.
Yeah, she said former world. He hauled ass and chased her. It was hilarious.
It wasn't like he was still the current champion. And
wait a minute here. So he was the former world champion, and she announced him as a former world champion. So what?
he didn't like that he lost the
he was
title.
Do you
Healing it up.
believe he was really pissed, or they just did that as a work? You can never believe a wrestler.
It's
even if
just
he's-
funny.
He was healing it up. That's all.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's all.
Because Triple H did a lot of that crazy stuff back in the early 2000s, where he did goofy stuff and sold stuff for like 3 minutes at a time. That was Triple H. So yeah, I don't count that one as a lot.
I love when Triple H did the Ric Flair flop a few times, and it's hilarious when he does it.
All right, Aaron.
Yeah, I think she's talented enough. She'll be able to make a good living regardless of what she's doing. Now, Emmanuel sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Much appreciated. Says, Samantha sang America the Beautiful in a playoff baseball game. She got an offer there since I know most of the panel doesn't see baseball. Well, I certainly don't, but I would think that she could get a job singing at these events if she may still get different jobs here and there, like not being part of WWE will give her opportunities to do things. You might see her pop in there and do the occasional baseball game or other sporting event. Like I could definitely see that happening. And as far as AEW goes, I know Ricochet went on Twitter and said she's not going to AEW. I don't exactly buy that. And JJ, you brought up like what would she do? She's taking Justin Roberts' spot if she goes to AEW. She's going to be the head ring announcer if she goes there. Now there is that show Shockwave that is reportedly being shopped around. Now that could be an opportunity for Justin Roberts to go over there and have Samantha Irvin on Dynamite. But if she goes to AEW, and I still think there's a decent chance she does, I think that she'll be the lead ring announcer. And I'm going to respond to a few other social media comments. Like people are saying like AEW, what's that going to do? It doesn't matter who's watching wrestling for a ring announcer. I've talked about this with AEW. I think like their whole brand presentation can use a lot of tweaks, and every little thing can help. Whether it's Samantha Irvin coming in, maybe getting some better music composers for AEW, lots of little things they can do to make the brand stronger and make it more interesting. So I definitely think she's an asset. And her leaving, I'm sad about it. I think she was already the number 2 greatest ring announcer after Howard Finkel. And if she had stuck it out for 5, 10, 15 years, she might have had a shot at surpassing him. But for now, I say Howard Finkel is still number 1, but I think Samantha Irvin cemented her place at number 2 for now. Will she come back? Never say never.
I was waiting for it.
You know what
Here
I
we
like
go.
about Fink?
I'm not going to argue. That's what he thinks. I'm not going to argue.
You know what I liked about Fink too is when people would win the title, another time, instead of saying "and new," he would say "and once again." Like the way he said it is like I don't know. It is just me. It's nostalgia of me growing up. I think
was Fink still
can't
with
be touched.
WWE up until he passed or got sick? Was he still doing stuff behind the scenes? And so he was like one of those lifers there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Didn't they
That's great.
bring him to announce CM Punk as his personal ring announcer one time or something?
Yeah, in 2011. Yeah.
Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you, Psycho. Says, what are the most memorable Lilian Garcia announcements? Don't everybody speak at once.
It's got to be that Triple H thing.
Singing after 9/11. I mean, that's not a ring announcing thing, but that was.
That's what I was going to say.
That's what I'll always remember her for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Same. That and
how ironic singing, which is what Samantha Irvin's trying to do.
Yeah. That, and I think it was Great American Bash one year, Great American Bash, and Tori Wilson came out and she sang Tori's theme song live.
But see, what we just talked about, the only thing I really remembered about her was the singing part, because that's what I want. When my ring announcer is a ring announcer, I don't need them to have all these memorable moments. I know we always thought of Fink and new and that kind of stuff. I don't need to know, like when I want to think of the wrestlers and that part of it, I don't need the ring announcer to steal the moments.
Why can't the ring announcers be entertaining?
I mean,
it's an entertainment show.
Again, look at a real sporting event.
You just want wrestling. You just
look
want
at a real sporting
wrestling.
event. Everybody's
Roman
like,
Reigns and The Rock. You
know
want
what's
to see
really
anything
ironic
other than
about
that.
this? The marks that like her so much because she's animated and looks like a fan, jump the rail and gets to live her dream, are the ones that want wrestling to be a sport more than entertainment. That's what really blows my mind. And if you look at sports, it's always professional. Even Buffer, who puts over her, right, probably likes the way she looks. He did it like in a suit and tie. The thing came down professional. It just wasn't my cup of tea. But Aaron, I said that's your number 2, and that's fine.
All right.
It's
Fair enough.
not ring announcing, but I remember backstage when Rock was offering his strudel. And he said he wanted-
The
and she
people's
said more than
strudel.
anything, Rock. Yeah, like she had,
yeah.
and he was like, whoa, down. Like, it was hilarious. It's not ring announcing, but that was hilarious with Lilian and The Rock.
Yeah.
Look, I just think she does a great job at her ring announcing. Doesn't matter male or female. I just think she does a tremendous job and was very entertaining. And I watch a television show to be entertained. So
And I hope
if the
she hits
person
it
who's
big on
doing
the
the
charts.
announcements can be fun and make it more entertaining.
Well, that's a mark.
and
Yeah,
enhance it,
you're
then I'm all
attracted to
for
her
it.
for a mark. For mark reasons.
You
Like,
could say the same
that's fine.
thing about the commentators. Like, the commentators shouldn't be energetic and passionate. They should just call it like a sport. No, I want the ring announcers. I want the commentators. I want everybody involved that's enhancing the show to enhance the show. They make it more entertaining.
I mean, that's you. Look, you've made a living using her image for clicks. She's a good-looking woman. I get it. Aaron. That's fine. I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to dispute you for her being your number 2. I hope she hits it big in the music industry.
And you know what?
And I mean big, because then she'll never come back. She might show up for WrestleManias once in a blue moon, but she'll never want to go back to the Peasley wrestling business because she's going to be number 1 on the Billboard charts. I really hope that for her.
I hope she succeeds.
Yes.
Whatever she wants to do, I hope she succeeds at
So
it.
hopefully it works.
That
right,
was
Gino.
that was the way we ended the thing yesterday. Is whatever she does, we just hope she's happy.
Yeah.
Now, everything in me is telling me to just kind of let you guys go at it and not interject. But I'm pretty sure that, most of those ring announcers do have some type of singing background because you want somebody who's a good vocalist to do the vocals for your announcing. I don't know if she's done music beforehand, but we kind of all knew that Lilian was, I don't want to say musician, but a singer. And
she had this album or something out, yeah.
Yeah. And at the same time, are we going to, I know we're not really saying this, but are we going to act like Lilian Garcia isn't good looking woman as well? Like, more goes into it than that, I feel like, than just what they look like.
I don't go by what they look like. I go by if they're entertaining me. That's all that matters.
I gotta go and
do
find
the job.
all the posts of Samantha Irvin posted this and all the NoDQ posts of her. I'm gonna find.
See, I thought that's why she left.
There's 10 of them at least, which is fine. I'm okay with it.
And Psychojet Black sent it a $2 super chat. Says Aaron versus Virtue, sport versus entertainment debate.
But Aaron likes the entertainment part of it, and so do I.
I do. I
don't-
like
yeah.
the entertainment part more than the wrestling part of it. I'm fine with the guys just going out there and talking. If they can entertain me, that's all that I want to see.
You need the male soap opera part. You need it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As early as last night, the crowd was chanting, "This is awesome," not because of a cool wrestling move, but because the Bloodline had gotten involved and Bron Breakker and Jacob Fatu were standing face to face. That's when they started chanting, "This is awesome." So I remember thinking when I was watching it, I'm like, they're not here. They don't really care how good the wrestling is in the ring. They love the storytelling that's being presented in front of them.
Yeah, exactly. And I know some people think Samantha's overrated and Virtue not the biggest fan of her. Thinks that maybe her announcing is a little too obnoxious. I mean, that's fine. Everybody's got their own opinion. It's all subjective. Psychojet Black sent in a $2 super chat, and can we all agree that Byron Saxton sucks?
No,
I don't agree with that, actually.
Oh,
Yeah,
there you
dude.
go. We got some Byron.
I don't want him
defenders.
in the main spotlight, but there's a purpose for him. Like there was
Yeah,
a purpose for
exactly.
Samantha Irvin too. Like I'm not saying that. But,
yeah, he's not going to take over as ring announcer. He's not going to be Mean Gene Okerlund, but he serves his purpose as a backstage interviewer.
And the other commentators would crap all over him to the point I felt bad for him when he was doing the commentary, because it was literally they would just jump down his throat, treat him like trash. And you could tell he's a company guy. He'll go to NXT, he'll go to backstage, he'll do whatever they're asking him to do. And I feel like I feel bad for Byron, so I'm not a Byron hater.
Me neither. Everyone has their role. It's like Coach back in the day. He had his
Yes.
role too. Yeah.
I mean, I forgot he's even still working for the company, but to each their own. Anyways, I've said my piece on Samantha Irvin, and best of luck to her in her future endeavors.
Yeah, but it was her choice. She's moving on for a bigger and better career than the Peasley wrestling business. All right, let's go around and do our last words. JJ, thanks for being on again, back to back. I'll start with you.
Well, thank you for having me again, Virtue. Aaron Rift. You can find me on social medias, the Renegade JJ Williams on Instagram, Twitter, ROWJJ Williams, YouTube, Casa D18 Studios. It's always a pleasure to get together with you guys on the review. Aaron, do you still have that Simply Reliable Studios graphic from last time?
I was trying to look for it. I may have lost it, unfortunately.
Okay. If you don't have it, that's fine. Make sure you follow all of us from the Simply Reliable Studios on YouTube, Walter's Rage of Wrestling channel, James Hebert at J Hebert Studios, Noah Foster's Simple Man brand. We are the only reliable SRS in professional
Oh, wait a
wrestling.
second. I found it. Here it is.
There we go.
The problem is, let me tell you the problem here. Jeff sends me like a new graphic every single time he's on, and I have like 100 graphics on here, and I lose track of them. So I'm blaming it on Jeff Beecham if he's still
there we go. But yeah,
there
we're
you
the
go.
only reliable SRS in professional wrestling. Check us out this weekend. We're going to be having watch-along coverage for Bound for Glory, UFC, and Halloween Havoc. Simply predicting Wednesday and Thursday night for Halloween Havoc and Bound for Glory, respectively. Lots of good stuff coming up from the Simply Reliable Studios.
Thank you, JJ. Gino.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. If you guys like video games, I live stream most days of the week on my YouTube channel, Papagino 0017. It's always a pleasure to be here, guys. I appreciate the opportunity to come and talk with like-minded people about something, whether we dislike it or like what they're doing, that we love. And it's awesome that NoDQ has a channel for people to talk and engage with each other in the chat, and it's just an honor to be here. So thank you very much for what you guys do.
And I have to, Colin, the Cleaver Andrew earlier said that you look like a indie wrestler from around the Cleveland area called Wes Barkley. Give us a big smile. Yeah, give me a big smile. That you do right there. Boom. Colin, if you're still in here, when he smiles.
If I grow my hair out a little bit more.
That's the Wes Barkley smile. But all right. Thank you, Gino. Walter.
That's an old graphic. The at Rate the Wrestling YouTube channel. Yeah, we want to see Lola. The X at what? There you go. At Walter Alex Cruz for the X, and the Instagram Walter.cruz.940 that's how you find me on all the socials. And thanks for always having me up here.
All right, thank you, Walter. Big G.
Well, I'm always happy to be here. Yep. If you're a cat person like me, Gino, and Aaron, I have a bunch of cat videos on YouTube at Harley and Joker 2021, on X, NoDQ_BigBallerG. Excuse me, TikTok, BigBallerG 1988, and on the Insta, NoDQ_BigBallerG 1988.
Thank you, Big G. Okay, Aaron.
Just stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the very latest regarding Samantha Irvin, Lilian Garcia, what's going on with the Bloodline, and we got predictions coming up Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific for Crown Jewel and Halloween Havoc. Stay tuned for that, and we will be back next Tuesday, which will be my wedding anniversary. I'm still doing the NoDQ review. We're going out to dinner beforehand, so I'll be here next Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific for the NoDQ review number 308. Virtue?
So that means we're going to have to ask you where you went to dinner. Just don't take her to McDonald's.
I
Just
promise
don't-
I won't.
No,
Try
okay.
not to get a pink ass steak again.
Check out
Well,
NoDQ.
Why'd you remind me of that?
Check
I
out
had forgotten about
NoDQ.com/merch for all the great merch. And go to x.com if you dare at NoDQ_virtue. I will almost be guaranteed to chase you away because I chase them all away. But that's it for Aaron Rift, for Walter, for Big G, for Gino, for JJ, for Colin, and the whole NoDQ crew and galaxy. Good night, everybody. We will see you again next time.
Adios.
Okay, bye.